For me, it's, I like to have a lot of fun. So for me, it's like meeting people, creating a fun experience for them, and then they'll remember you for that. And also a beneficial one. So I'm always trying to think about what I can do for other people that, you know, when they need a general contractor, they'll work with me. So I think it's very much a two-way street. If you're not trying to help other people, they're not going to try to help you. So it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's being a good person, which you all are, you know, and just trying to help people out. And it'll come back to you. That's what I found.
When I was thinking about this, you can't network one way, you gotta be both ways. So if you can't have a reciprocal relationship with somebody, initially starting out, you're gonna be asking the whole time, but eventually you're gonna be giving back as well.
You bring up networking, I always cringe because it makes me nervous just thinking about networking. But then, you know, when I really started, when Amanda first told me that was just how it goes through, but then I just started thinking that really for me, networking is more about like developing relationships, which I'm very good at. And so, you know, that has been a very big part of not only my building my business, but creating all of the jobs and things that I did before I had this business.
I wasn't an engineer by training. I've learned everything just by talking to people, and if I don't know something, just asking the smartest person that I can find that knows about any issue. Said, get the cards and don't be afraid to reach out to people, because almost 100% of the time people want to help and support you.
All those points are good. The one thing that I always want to be careful of when I'm networking, whether it's social media or it's actually at a meeting and you're meeting a bunch of people, there's a fine line between being that guy that is kind of selly and networky and being, to Jodi's point, like just a good person to talk to and stuff. You always tell when you're talking to somebody and they're a networky guy because they're looking around the room as you're talking to them, looking for who else is in the room. And I can't stand that, right?
Goes throughout everything I do, both on the trying to find work side and then also trying to actually build things when I need a subcontractor. I need to know who's out in the marketplace doing all the different trades that I need them to do. So a lot of that, you know, it's really understanding the market from all different sides comes from networking, in my experience.
You have to figure out how to identify people that are useful to you and kind of useful to your network, and try to kind of push things along, because you can get stuck in a networking cycle where all you're actually doing is networking. You're never getting anything actually done. And I think there's this kind of fine line. You don't want to kind of cut people off because you never know when they'll actually be useful to you. But you also got to kind of just get going with stuff too. And those are interesting challenges.
One of the things that became really apparent to us after 10 years in business is that almost without fail, every single one of our clients came through to us because of some connection. I had my own business and I was kind of doing this consulting thing. And so there was a woman that worked at this company and she worked for Amanda's organization. And she was like, oh, this is great, I get to come here, I do this thing, she pays great, I love this work, I don't have to be an employee, I have my own business still. I was like, I can do that. So I called on the Weathersby Group, Amanda, and I started working for the Weathersby Group.
Despite the fact I've been in the same business for 25 years in the same area, I built houses in the upper Northwest and have been doing it, and the finding a project is one of the key, if not the key, of staying successful in the business. And I go around on a regular basis, 3 or 4 Sundays a month, and go to open houses and talk to real estate agents. Say, "Hi, remember me? I'm building houses. You got any projects coming up?" But I was in the locker room the other day and I was talking to a mortgage banker, and he knows somebody that's going to be doing something and needs some expertise in this. So I assume it's networking, but it's just an ongoing process to find opportunities through lawyers, bankers, real estate agents, and whoever else could be in my business.
That's what you want, right? At the end of the day, from that network, you want people to come out of the woodwork when they have a project because you were good to them or helpful, or people know you as quality. And I think that's the key part of
I'm
networking.
on the awards chair for the Design Build Institute of America. I go to Ladies and Lattes, which is like a women's networking group. I'll go to like Crew, which is another women's networking group in the construction industry. I mean, there's tons of organizations you can get involved in any business. So I try and go to one event or have coffee with one person or whatever it is a week.
Okay.
I would say if you're gonna set a number, make it meaningful, people, just don't go out and get enough.
Yeah.
People said, oh, I did my 5 today,
Yeah.
somebody did that, and actually some impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're looking, I think there's a difference also between whether you're starting a business or trying to figure out what business you want to start or where you're going. Because I think those are different goals. You know, if you're meeting one person and you're starting a business, then it's a business goal kind of targeted thing. If you're trying to find something that's interesting to you, you have to find one person a week that seems like they're doing something interesting and meet those people and see whether that appeals and whether
But then
their business
again,
is appealing.
You never know where it comes from.
Well, that's true too.
You know, you
Yep.
just don't, you
You know,
know?
we have things built into our company where, you know, our marketing person has the best intentions to, you know, remind us that we're supposed to set up a lunch with whomever and, you know, and I'm like, this isn't the right time for this meeting and I'm not gonna force it, you know? So, you know, you can make goals, but they're, like you were saying, they change a lot. I try and bring it up more as like, you know, if you ever need a budget or an estimate or whatever, I can help you with that. And that usually gets them to remember that they can think of you when they are in the beginning stages of a project. But
I think maybe the ask, if you're especially looking for a job or looking for something specific, that might be a follow-up to the, I'm not sure you go guns blazing into the meeting saying, this is what I want, right? Like, so I think there's like a process to networking where you make the initial contact, you follow up with an email thing for their time, then you come back to them saying, you know, here's what I'm looking for, could you help me out with this? And you can kind of judge who's willing to help in those initial meetings. It's amazing who will go to lunch with you if you provide a free lunch.
Person to person is good, but give me a phone and a contact and I can get just about any information I want after 5 or 6 phone calls.
My first client came to us kind of out of the blue, and it was a military client. And we then went back and forth on a bunch of different things for probably 6 months with no agenda. You needed some information, you needed to move quickly. I spent a lot of time doing that. And that ended up being our single largest client through all of time. And we sold the company. I had met the guy that engineered the deal to sell it at just a meet and greet kind of thing a year
I
before.
took 25 of my clients curling, the National Capital Curling. Yeah, it was super fun. I had like a coffee bar with like you know, Maker's Mark and Jameson and there's beer and wine and it was just a Saturday afternoon. I mean, to get 25 clients to come and we only had like 8 people from our company, but it was incredibly successful. We bussed them out there from downtown, bussed them back. Everyone stayed downtown and like party, but it went really well. I've gotten 3 RFP like invitations to bid from that.
We had a woman who we knew through various networks call us and say, you know, I own a business and I'm ready to get out of it. Are you guys interested in acquiring it? And we were like, yeah. So we acquired her business and folded it. So it's been a way to start and then grow our business, and that's worked very well.
See, I was in Colorado after one of my midlife crises and decided I was going to come back to Washington. And I called a friend and said, hey, I'm coming back to Washington. I'm going to be looking for things to do. He goes, we're going to buy this deal, buy the cathedral, and we need to do all these things for it. Are you interested? And I said, yes. And I wound up we bought it in September and subdivided the lots and sold them by the end of the year. And it was the largest single profit I've ever made on any deal, both in absolute dollars and percentage-wise.